Hello grade 9 learners, have a nice day. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'll be discussing to you about solving word problems, application of quadratic equations, and rational equations. This is grade 9 lesson for week 4 in the first quarter. Before we go on with solving worded problems, let us have a short review first about translation of verbal phrase or verbal sentence to mathematical phrase or mathematical sentence. This is very important in solving worded problems because you're going to translate verbal phrases or verbal sentences to form a mathematical sentence so we can solve for the given equation. For this time, I'll be assigning x as the number or the unknown. We can assign any variables from a to z to represent for the unknown, but this time I will be representing the unknown with variable x. Now let's begin with verbal phrase to mathematical phrase. 5 less than a number. It can be translated as x minus 5. Take note of the word less. Next, 7 increased by 3 times the square of a number is translated as 7 plus 3x squared. The word increased by means addition. Third, 1/3 the sum of a number and 7. Translated as 1/3 times the quantity of x plus 7. Next, 2 less than 3 times a number is translated as 3x minus 2. Now let's have verbal sentence to mathematical sentence. A number divided by 6 plus 1 is 5. So we have here x over 6 plus 1 equals 5. Number 6 example. 7 times 2 more than a number is 21. So we have 7 times the quantity of x plus 2 equals 21. Next, 4 increased by 6 times a number is 12. So we have here 4 increased by plus 6x is equal to 12. Okay, hopefully you have recalled some of the lesson that you have taken up already in your grade 7, which is mathematical sentence to verbal sentence or verbal sentence to mathematical sentence. Okay, let's consider the first problem. The length of a rectangular garden plot is 7 meters longer than its width. The area of the plot is 30 square meters. Find the length and the width of the plot. So of course, part of solving a problem is we have to read and understand the problem. Now we are going to represent the value of the unknown by a certain variable. So I assign x to be the width of the plot. We can use any other variable. Since x represents the width of the plot, we can represent the length of the plot as x plus 7. Why x plus 7? Because it is being stated in a problem that the length of a rectangular garden plot is 7 meters longer than its width. So if x is the width, then it's longer by 7, so we have x plus 7 to represent the length of a rectangular plot. Next, to visualize further, let me show to you the rectangular plot. So this is the rectangular plot with an area of 30 square meters. So this is the area. Now, this part here is the width represented by x. And on the other hand, this part here is the length, x plus 7. Remember that the formula in finding the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. So out of this, we can now form an equation. Our length is represented by x plus 7 times our width is x, and of course it will be equated to the area. The area is 30. So we have now an equation. Out of this equation, we can now solve for the length and the width. So we will write first the equation in standard form. We have to simplify first. So x times x, that is equal to x squared. 7 times x is 7x. Bring down 30. Next, 30 will be transposed to the left side so that we can have an equation in standard form. And the resulting equation now is x squared plus 7x minus 30 equals 0. Now we'll solve for x. We have 4 methods in solving for quadratic equation, but this time we can solve this by factoring. So factors of x squared are x and x. Factors of negative 30, that will give a sum of 7, are 10 and negative 3. 10 times negative 3 is negative 30, but once you add 10 plus negative 3, the answer is positive 7. And of course, it will be equated by 0. After that, we have to equate its factor with 0. X plus 10 equals 0, and the other one, x minus 3 equals 0. Now, let's solve for x. So 10 will be transposed to the right side and it became negative 10. Negative 3 transposed and it became positive 3. We have here two values, but we have to consider only the positive value because the problem is asking for the dimension of a rectangular garden plot. So we'll only consider x is equal to positive 3. And based on the problem, we represent x as the width of the plot. Therefore, 3 here refers to the width. To determine the length, since length is being represented by x plus 7, we will just substitute x by 3. So we have 3 plus 7, that is equal to 10. And 10 here is the length. So for our final answer, do not forget to write the unit. So therefore, the width of a rectangular plot is 3 meters and the length is 10 meters. Let's have example number 2. A rectangular or tablecloth has an area of 80 square feet. The width is 2 feet shorter than its length. What are the length and width of a tablecloth? Okay, first we have to represent the unknown dimension. So we can represent it with a variable. So let x be the length of a tablecloth. And x minus 2 is the width of a tablecloth. Why we have x minus 2? Because we have here the width is 2 feet shorter than its length. Okay, now we can represent the problem in this way. We have 80 square feet. This is the area of the tablecloth, and the length, we have here x, this is the length, and this one, this part here is the width. Remember that the formula in finding the area of a rectangle is length times width. So we can now substitute this. The length is x and our width is x minus 2. And the area is equal to 80. Out of this equation, we can now solve for the value of x. So we have x times x, x squared, x times negative 2, negative 2x, 80, transpose to the left side, and this became negative 80. And of course, equate that with 0. So we have now equation in standard form. Now we are going to solve this by factoring. Factors of negative 80, that will give a sum of negative 2. So we have x plus 8 times quantity of x minus 10. So x times x, that is equal to x squared, and 8 times negative 10, that is equal to negative 80. But the sum of 8 and negative 10 is equal to negative 2. And of course, it will be equated with 0. Now, we are going to equate its factor with 0. So we have x plus 8 equals 0, and the other one is x minus 10 equals 0. So for x, we have x equals negative 8, and the other one, x equals 10. We let x as the length of the tablecloth. Therefore, 10 here is the length. We are only considering the value of x that is equal to 10 because the dimension of a tablecloth is always positive. We are not considering x equals negative 8. So, next, we have to determine the width. According to the problem, the width of a tablecloth is being represented by x minus 2. So, we have to subtract 10, the value of x, by 2. So, it means that 8 is the width of the tablecloth. If you are going to multiply 10 times 8, you will have 80. So, our answer is correct. So, do not forget to write the unit. So, therefore, the width of a tablecloth is, our unit is feet, 8 feet, and the length is 10 feet. Next example, Gab and John are planning to repair a house together. Gab thinks that if he works alone, it would take him 5 hours more than the time John takes to repair the entire house. Working together, they can complete the job in 6 hours. If John can work in m hours, so in here it is being specified that the hour will be represented by m, how long will it take Gab to finish the job? Okay, by the way, if it is not being specified that you are going to use a certain variable, you can use another variable. But this time, we are given the variable m. Okay, for our solution, first we have to represent the unknown. So we can have let m number of hours to finish the work by John alone. Okay, so m plus 5 represent the numbers of hours to finish the work by Gab alone. 1 over m will represent the part of the work that will be completed by John in 1 hour. And 1 over m plus 5 is a part of the work that will be completed by Gab in 1 hour. And of course, 1 over 6 is the part of work that will be completed by John and Gab if they work together in 1 hour. Now we're going to represent this in an equation. So we have 1 over m plus 1 over m plus 5 is equal to 1 over 6. Remember, 1 over m, this is the part of work that will be completed by John. And this one, part of work that will be completed by Gab in 1 hour. And if they will work together, they will have 1 over 6 in 1 hour. And this type of equation is a rational equation. So we're going to solve this applying the knowledge that we have learned on solving rational equation. We're going to solve for the value of m. But first, we have to find the least common denominator of 1 over m plus 1 over m plus 5 equals 1 over 6. And of course, the least common denominator is just equal to the product of m times quantity of m plus 5 times 6, or we have 6m times quantity of m plus 5. Next, we have to multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator. The resulting equation is 6m times quantity of m plus 5 times 1 over m plus 1 over m plus 5 is equal to 16 times 6m times quantity of m plus 5. Now we have to multiply. So 6m times quantity of m plus 5 will be multiplied to 1 over m. So we can divide the common factor we have here, m and m. So the remaining terms are 6 times quantity of m plus 5 times 1. Next, 6m times quantity of m plus 5 will be multiplied to 1 over m plus 5. We can also divide the common factor, which is quantity of m plus 5 and quantity of m plus 5. So the terms that are left are 6m and 1. So that's why we have here 6m times 1. And on the right side of the equation, we have also to divide the common factors. The common factor is 6 and 6. So therefore, the terms that are left are 1 times m times quantity of m plus 5. Now, let's simplify. So we have 6 times m, 6m times 1, we have 6m. Next, 6 times 5, 30 times 1, that is equal to 30. Plus 6m times 1 is 6m. 1 times m times m, that is equal to m squared. 1 times m is m times 5, that is equal to 5m. Now we have to combine similar terms. We can combine 6m and 6m. And the resulting equation now is 12m plus 30, just bring down 30, is equal to bring down m squared plus 5m. Next, we have to rewrite the equation in quadratic equation in standard form. This time, I'm going to transpose 12m and 30 to the right side of the equation so that we can have a quadratic term that is positive. So the resulting equation now is 0 is equal to, just bring down m squared and 5m, and 12m became negative 12m, 30 became negative 30. Now we can still combine 5m and negative 12m. So the resulting equation now is 0 is equal to m squared minus 7m minus 30. So if you have observed, we have now a quadratic equation. So we can solve now for the value of m. We can solve this by factoring. Factors of m squared are m and m. Factors of negative 30, that will give a sum of negative 7, are negative 10 and 3. Next, equate its factor with 0. So we have m minus 10 is equal to 0, and the other one is m plus 3 is equal to 0. So for m, negative 10 transpose to the right side, so it became positive 10. And on the other hand, we have m plus 3 transpose 3 to the right side, so it became negative 3. This time we have two values, but we have only to consider 10 because the problem is asking for the number of hours. Okay? And m is being represented as the number of hours to finish the work by John alone. Okay? So, meaning to say that John can finish the work by 10 hours. Now, let's determine the number of hours for Gab to complete the work. And it is being represented by m plus 5. So, we just substitute m by 10. So, we have 10 plus 5, that is equal to 15. So, meaning to say, 15 here refer to the number of hours to finish the work by Gab alone. Do not forget in our conclusion that our unit is in terms of hours. So we have, it will take 10 hours for John to finish the work while Gab finishes it in 15 hours. Hopefully you learned something for today's video. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like or comment if you have questions regarding the video. Kindly share to other students for them to learn or master the lesson, and please subscribe to be updated for more math lesson videos and turn on the bell for notifications. Before I end, let me share to you one of the verses from the Bible. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. Proverbs 1 verse 5. That's all for today, and God bless you all.